I don't care.
Anna Nicole. Born poor in Texas, struggling, saving, trying to get some fame. Then you used what you got, and that was a lot. You became a household name, married a billionaire. So he was 88, and didn't think it all disappeared as fast as it came. Anna Nicole. Anna Nicole. You're so outrageous. Anna Nicole.
You are now listening to Extreme Cinema with Andrew Ganke and David Lawler. If you like sex and violence, evil brunettes, and angelic blondes, then stick with us as we debate some of the best and worst of action and exploitation filmmaking.
What's going on, you motherfucker?
It is so good not to be talking about Hollywood exploitation, isn't it? It's so good not to be talking about Harvey Weinstein and all that nonsense. How you doing?
Harvey Weinstein. Let's talk about Harvey Weinstein. Let's talk about the casting couch. Let's talk about bending Anna Nicole Smith over the casting couch.
What would you little maniacs like to do first?
You would need a forklift.
Yeah,
I would need
two or three big guys.
Like a large couch. Like I just built a couch for my outside deck. Actually, two of them. But I might need to bend her over both of them in the size that I've seen her in these movies.
But the thing I can believe about Anna Nicole is that she can handle herself with people because she's 5'11", and she is she's got to be about 150, 160 pounds at least for To the Limit. I think she gained a little bit more weight.
One of her tits could kick my ass, probably.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we're here. This is Extreme Cinema. I'm David Lawler, and I'm joined by Andrew Ganke, and we're going to talk about the '90s goddess. What can I say? Anna Nicole Smith.
Is she
Vickie
really
Lynn.
the '90s goddess?
I would say she is.
Really?
As far as I bow to the altar of Anna Nicole because of these movies, because we went into these movies not expecting much. I mean, I certainly wasn't expecting anything.
Expected nothing.
I was pleasantly surprised watching these movies because they were a lot of fun. I was never bored by either of them, and also I feel like real people were making these movies, like people who knew how to run a camera. They knew how to coordinate sound effects. They knew how to coordinate stunt work, and they did a fine job for what it is. Considering, I mean, it's exploitation. That's all it is. There's no reason for her to be in either of these movies except that she's Anna Nicole Smith, and she takes her clothes off,
looking for meth money or whatever the hell it was that she was doing at the time. I mean,
I do have the story here. She was bankrupt by this point. PM offered her an enormous amount of money to appear in these two movies with the possibility of more. It had gotten really bad for her at that point because she was married to a very rich...
that whole thing fell through and she wasn't getting her money, right?
She wasn't getting her money. She was... now, she had started off as a model, dancer, and stripper in Houston, Texas by the name of Vickie Lynn Hogan. And she was discovered by Playboy and became their centerfold, their Playmate of the Month, and then their Playmate of the Year. She had already had a child, and married and divorced a guy named Billy Wayne Smith, and then a very old rich man who probably wore a cowboy hat spotted her, named J. Howard Marshall, and he was a multi-billionaire. I mean, I think he was like one of these oil tycoon types.
Yeah, and he left her a ton of money, but then
he left her a ton of money, and then the family fought it. She didn't even have money for her children, so she had.
So she did PM Entertainment movies, and she did her reality show.
You have a liability insurance here?
The only thing that I must and I wanted to have was a big bathtub. Because I'm a big girl, and I like to take a bubble bath all the time. That was all that candy I just ate. What was that sound? I'm going on a diet. Small, man.
It's really small.
It's too small.
She started off in 1995 with To the Limit, directed by Raymond Martino and starring, produced, co-written by Joey Travolta.
What do we got?
Elle vit dans un monde où le danger est omniprésent, où la pitié n'existe pas. Elle en franchira toutes les limites.
Il s'est d'abord servi de moi pour approcher mon patron. On est tombé amoureux. Il a commencé à me faire confiance.
Et en possession d'un objet précieux et dangereux.
Elle est un soldat dans une guerre secrète.
J'ai appris la vérité sur mon patron.
Arthur Johnson, chef de division à la CIA. Ce type est vendeur et consommateur.
Elle est un combattant qui veut changer de camp.
Tu dois me faire confiance.
Mais son vieil ennemi n'est pas pressé de devenir son allié.
Il n'y a qu'une Colette Dubois aux États-Unis. Elle est décédée il y a 30 ans.
Les agents travaillent sous de faux noms, tu le sais, ça.
La CIA n'a aucun dossier sur elle. À ta place, je me méfie.
Ils n'ont pas d'autre choix que de lui faire confiance.
Auriez-vous oublié ce sénateur que vous avez fait disparaître?
Elle détient la preuve qui rétablira le rapport de force, mais pas la paix.
Donnez-moi ce disque. Ce que nous faisons n'est pas toujours très orthodoxe.
Leurs méthodes sont très convaincantes.
J'ai des dossiers sur tout le monde.
Il faut que je le tue.
Une histoire de vengeance et de charme.
And featuring Rebecca Ferrati, Kathy Shower, Michael Norrie from The Hidden, who's in there for like 5 minutes basically just to bang her and die.
Guy. Look how much hot shit he thought he was after like Footloose and fucking The Hidden and shit. Like he thought he was the man, and now look at him. He's in a PM entertainment movie with,
and he's in there just basically to boink her and then die. Joey Travolta plays a character named Frank Da Vinci. And he's like, I guess, a mobbed up war vet or something like that. But this movie, To the Limit, is actually a sequel to a movie called Da Vinci's War. And you're Joey Travolta and your brother's John Travolta.
Right.
And you try really hard to get out there. You try to get your name going, and it's really hard to live in the shadow of that.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
It's really hard.
That must be horrible. That must be in certain ways it must be horrible. In other ways, it must, hey, you get free shit.
I don't know. Well, I mean, it depends.
Because nobody gave a fuck about Joey Travolta unless there was a John Travolta,
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, Joey Travolta has just as much acting experience. He has just as much stage and dancing and singing performance.
Joe
as his younger brother.
Frank Stallone actually has a lot of experience too.
Mm-hmm. But for some reason, they always get kind of like the short shrift.
Frank Stallone is an awesome singer too.
So Joey Travolta appears in Da Vinci's War in 1991,
right?
And then he produces and stars in the sequel. They get Anna Nicole. They throw a bunch of money at her. She takes the job because she needs the money. Frankly, I have a little bit of a funny bit here about To the Limit. I could not find a complete uncut version of the movie. The only version of the movie I could find was a cut down version, a cut version of the movie, and then I found a version of the movie with only the sex. Just the sex, right? So I got my editing hat on and I edited together the complete version of To the Limit. And I gotta say, for both movies, the nudity and the sex are extraneous and they don't really contribute to the story in any way. That's the most important thing to consider, taking away from it. So basically, it was made for Anna Nicole's fans. One of my questions would have been to you: would she be considered morbidly obese in today's fat shaming culture?
Maybe, but I don't mean to shame fat people because I've been a fat person my whole life, and I'm just starting to not be a fat person. But she's fat.
There's 3 things people seem to think about me. They think I'm rich. I'm not rich. I'm gonna be rich. They think I'm a gold digger, and they think that I'm fat. Well, maybe I'm a little big boned.
Well, I'm going to have to differ with you on that because you're talking about it in a way that makes it sound unattractive. Actually, I think she's very beautiful in both movies.
Great ass!
She gains a little bit of weight in Skyscraper. I don't like skinny women.
Fucking gigantic in Skyscraper.
I'm sorry. I have to completely disagree with you on that. I do not like skinny women. I don't find them particularly appealing. Low body fat means nothing to me. It doesn't make any sense to see all these skinny women beating the shit out of other people. You have to have a little bit. I believe in Anna Nicole in the movie, at least as far as
women
that.
trying to beat the shit out of like fit guys either, because like
And she might have gained a little weight, but she fucking looks so much better than most women today. I'm serious about that. The camera loves her in both movies. They know how to photograph her.
Yeah,
she's got some nice. She's got some big breasts, and they're very nice.
If she wasn't like standing there going, "Oh, what are you doing? Are you hitting me? Because I don't know. I'm going to hit you back."
Fuck you, David.
So what is this? What's happening in To the Limit is a little less believable than Skyscraper. I can buy her being a helicopter pilot in Skyscraper. I can't buy her being a CIA agent that's deep undercover.
Oh, jeez. Why?
She's deep undercover with Michael Nouri. Apparently, they're involved in protecting, I guess Joey Travolta's character.
Why can't you suspend your disbelief? I mean, why?
Not for the CIA agent part.
No, you can just do the helicopter.
Anyone can learn how to fly a helicopter. But when it comes to skill and being like a CIA agent, mole or under deep cover like that, I just don't buy it. There's a massacre at a wedding, and Michael Nouri bites it, and she has to get to Joey Travolta's character, Da Vinci. But there's a lot of twists and turns. It's really amidst the professionalism of the explosions, I remember because when I was working on Two David's Walking to a Bar episode about low-budget movies and stuff like that, we were looking for good explosions. And some examples that came our way were things from newer movies, and you can tell when an explosion is real and when you can't. There was a Hugh Jackman, one of his Wolverine movies, where he walks away from an explosion, and it looks so fake. It looks like a green screen. He doesn't react to it at all, right? Mm-hmm. And then we start looking at explosions from really low budget movies, like the Burt Reynolds movie Malone is what I ultimately went with, because the explosion was real. He was right there and he reacts to it. Right. And you know that it's real because they're reacting to it. And a lot of this stuff is real when you're seeing real car crashes, you're seeing actual explosions. And To the Limit is a movie where they actually did spend money. Money was spent on this movie and it was released in theaters. Skyscraper, unfortunately, wasn't. It was a direct-to-video movie. But for this one, they spent money, because probably they had all that flush Anna Nicole money so they could spend whatever they needed to. But they're using cranes and dollies in this movie. There's some nice photography.
There was nice photography, and that's a common thread amongst the PM Entertainment movies. I mean, they're not.
What do we know? Can you give us a little?
They're often technically competent.
Yeah, Can you give us a little background on PM Entertainment? What did they do? What kind of stuff were they known for?
Well, I first was introduced to them when somebody wanted to give one of my screenplays to them back in the 90s.
Really? Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it was.
Dish. What was your script about?
My script was about about an undercover cop trying to find the guy who killed his brother by going undercover with a bunch of pool hustlers.
Oh,
and it was an interesting. It was called Street Legal. Was the name of the script, and there was an actor by the name of, I think his name is Lawrence Hilton James or something like that.
Lawrence Hilton Jacobs from Welcome Back, Kotter.
Lawrence Hilton Jacobs.
He was from Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yeah, and he was working with PM Entertainment and
that is fucking awesome. Huh? That is the most awesome thing I've ever heard in my life. That was awesome. Lawrence Hilton Jacob was working with PM Entertainment.
Yeah, there's a ton of shit that he did with them. They were just as horrible as these fucking movies, like worse.
I don't really care about the quality. What I care about is that people want to do it, and it's better than The Room, as far as I'm concerned. If it's better than The Room, then it's great. But it's also better than Logan.
These don't really have a whole lot of charm. But
you want to talk about bad movies? Let's talk about Hugh Jackman.
Like it was like I had been attending a school. I was reading my screenplay as part of, because I didn't want to do any work in this class. And like, so I was like giving my creative writing, my screenplay as creative writing. And this guy was like, he's like, you know, my uncle is Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, and he's working with these guys, and we want to give, you know, like this. I think your thing is great. Can I give him your screenplay? And like,
to fucking do it? Yes.
Like, yeah.
Did
sure,
you go yes?
Like nothing ever came of it, but like, you know,
this is going to cost us too much money. It's $5 over the budget. We can't do it. Sorry.
They could have made it, but they whatever. It wasn't worth it to them, or whatever. I mean, it wasn't I don't.
Well, the problem was Joey Travolta wrote something very similar, so they decided.
Travolta wrote something so much better. But in any case, that was my first intro to PM Entertainment, and basically everything that comes out of PM Entertainment, there are certain companies that like I know what to look for in them. In PM Entertainment, I look for. There are good production values, very low quality stars usually, like
or maybe like C-listers.
Anna Nicole Smith that they're trying to exploit. You'll see a Joey Travolta who's not really a star. You'll see a Michael Nouri that nobody gives a rat's ass about anymore.
But you also have Don the Dragon Wilson. You got
not usually
Jeff Wincott. You got Cynthia Rothrock. Yeah, no, he made 4 films with PM Entertainment.
Did he? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, but I'm telling you. Well, okay.
Just 4.
Then, like, look.
Also, Jeff Wincott, Cynthia Rothrock.
Okay. Well,
but that's it.
Different.
That's all
Sometimes
they
they do star-driven stuff. Then, when you're looking at what's the company that's picked up the slack for Canon? New Image. Like New Image, either they're going to have awesome stars and the movies are going to suck, or they're going to have not so great stars and much better stories, and the movies are going to be awesome. Like,
well, yeah, that's true, but this is a different time.
PM Entertainment really, like, their shit is going to suck really no matter what it is. But so obviously, so they're going to have Jeff Wincott starring in the movie.
Jeff Wincott is
in this crappy movie.
Well, he was in Future Fear, Pressure Point, Outside the Law.
Jeff Wincott still sucks, and he's still in this crappy movie.
I see. The thing is, for me, this is how I view PM Entertainment. They were a better, higher budget version of David A. Pryor's company, Action International Pictures.
I view them differently, but I mean, I can see how you would say that. Like, they're definitely way more polished than AIP ever was.
Yeah, there was a lot lot more polished. Definitely.
They're like a different company though. Like they definitely had a lot more talent, raw talent. They also didn't care.
Well, behind the camera, yeah.
Yeah, I get. You know what? I guess I could agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, they had an enormous crew. They had good sound. You know, I was really impressed with the fact that they had surround sound.
Beautiful production values. It's like, why didn't they work a little longer to make like good movies?
Well,
because they didn't have to, because they made millions of dollars as per.
That's the issue. Yeah. If a movie is going to cost you $5 million to make, and you put it out in theaters, you make a little money, but then you put it out on video, and then it winds up on cable, you're making several million. You're making much more profit.
$5 million on these movies.
Well, $5 million on a movie like To the Limit. Skyscraper was a little bit less.
Did they really spend $5 million on that?
Did you see the crew? You got mouths to feed. This was a Union Productions. But everybody, once CIA agent Anna Nicole Smith. I made a note of this, that everybody wants to kill her for some reason, but in the end, it was life that killed her.
Yeah, in the end, it was.
Anna
Nicole.
My only problem with the movie is that there are very few establishing shots, so it's hard to tell where characters are in relation to everything else. It's like one guy could be standing in a corner, but we don't have any coverage. There's no coverage of the scene. I feel like they shot it on the run, basically, for what they had. So they were like, okay, we'll just do our close-ups, we'll do a medium. So there were very few establishing shots for the movie. But Skyscraper actually fixes that problem. They manage that because it's the same director. Raymond Martino directed that as well. Mm-hmm. Lucky son of a bitch. And he got to do these establishing shots for it, and it looks a lot better. But unfortunately, it didn't get the kind of exposure that To the Limit got, because they were making a big deal out of the fact that Anna Nicole Smith was in this movie. And she is the other problem, and this is the big problem with both movies, is that she's in them and she's distracting. They decide to shoehorn these sex scenes to each of her with people in both movies.
They're horrible.
And you know, I mean, the first time we see Anna Nicole, she's masturbating in a bathtub in this movie.
Yeah, in this movie, yes.
You're kind of settling in for something that's going to be, it's going to be cheeky, it's going to be low budget, it's going to be, you know, action exploitation. You kind of know what you're getting into, but then we get, you know, Anna Nicole masturbating, we get close-ups of her breasts. But the one thing I'll say is the movie is never boring for me.
I thought that To the Limit was a little bit boring. I did enjoy Skyscraper.
Skyscraper, I definitely the better movie.
They were both pretty lame, and I was still wondering like why I'm doing this. But I have to say, it wasn't a totally like lost experience. I did kind of enjoy some of it.
Did you see remember the ending? She throws a compact disc at somebody and slices it through the guy's head.
Yeah, that was.
And then he falls over the dam. I didn't know you could do. I guess you could do that with enough force.
Yeah, well, you can if you're Anna Nicole.
And if you're Anna Nicole, her real name in the movie is Vickie Lynn, which I thought was so cute.
Yeah, I thought that was really cute too. It just made me want to lay down with her and touch her breasts.
A breasts. Yo, what's up? Yo, you got them breasts, yo. Now, on to can we talk for a minute? Let's take a little diversion and talk a little bit about. You mentioned a television show that she was on, a reality show that she was the star of.
Yeah,
the Anna Nicole show. Now, I vaguely remember. I didn't really watch. I think maybe Bronwyn watched, and it was basically about her struggles raising her kids on her own. She has no money. You know, they put her in that reality show situation, which is, I guess she's living in a house or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's probably not her house. And being that it's reality television, it's probably the most orchestrated and staged of all television, ironically. And I know this because a lot of people I know work in reality television shows, and they tell me basically it's all scripted. There's no such thing as reality doesn't actually exist. It's just sort of a fabrication of television, you know, studios and things like that.
And then I went and I got to go meet Ellen.
Hi, I wanted to bring a visitor in.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Come on
Ellen
in.
DeGeneres, Anna Nicole Smith.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing? I'm not this tall, actually. Let me get off. And this is your doggie.
This is Sugar Pie.
Hey, how you doing, doggie? Are you happy? Sugar Pie looks unhappy.
Oh, she's happy.
Oh, really? For sure?
Oh.
All right.
She doesn't know what's going on.
Does she bite?
No.
Does your dog bite? It's not my dog. You know that joke? I bet you anyway. The joke about does your dog bite, and then the guy goes to pet the dog, and the dog bites, and he goes, it's not my dog.
Okay.
No. These are people. You're not going to remember their names, so I'm not going to say all their names. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, nervous.
Me too. I am. I get nervous.
You do?
Yeah, there's a lot of expectations on this show. This is the show, isn't it?
I used to watch it with my ex. Like, I actually kind of enjoyed it. She was, like, kind of drugged out and fucked up. It's like, if she wasn't drugged out, like she kind of acted like she did in these movies where she's kind of like, why are you saying that to me? And like seriously, if you're not drugged, if you're not drugged, there's something really fucking wrong with you. Like, you're retarded.
Well, the only thing I figured out, she has no depth as a performer.
Well, we know she has no depth as a performer, but I mean, like, seriously, But
she has also the southern accent that just won't go away, and she's kind of got like this little girl voice, the way she talks. She doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, but still, I mean, come on, there has to be something I mean, like, really, like, she's either retarded or she's on drugs.
Well, if I were to estimate, based on her height, her weight, and her proportions, she suffered back pains and was probably on all kinds of painkillers.
Right. That sounds... Well, if I had tits that big, I'd have fucking back pain, too.
Even women that don't have big tits like that have fucking back problems, too. Oh. It's just... The human back is not designed to do what we...
It's not designed for tits like that.
It's not designed to do anything, really. When you have back pain, it just means you have normal problems. So, but unfortunately, in this overprescribed, overmedicated world that we live in, and we've been living in for a very long time now, doctors tend to just throw pills at problems.
And she was knocked out during that whole show, and it was obvious, like, that she was in. Like, I remember her with her little boy and stuff, and
The little boy, he's no longer with us. It's a very sad story. It's a very sad story, Andrew. I mean, like the boy died. I mean, from what I understand, I want to look it up and make sure.
I don't know what I would think about that show now.
Well, looking at it now, it's kind of tragedy, and
the whole thing is tragedy.
The whole thing was a train wreck, and it was like her life was a train wreck. She was exploited as much as she exploited other people. She obviously, she had a marriage to a rich old guy, and was waiting to claim the inheritance, and something like that happens. And then he dies. She gets into this horrible scrape with his family. She gets nothing in the end. They were only married for 13 months before he died. It's sort of like anything that you would see in a movie starring Anna Nicole Smith. It's like it's very exploitative when you think about it. And I remember that when she died, people were mocking her. People were making fun of her.
Yeah.
When she died, they made a lot of horrible, tasteless jokes. And there's one thing I always try to follow in my life is never to speak ill of the dead. And so many people came out and were like, "Oh, that fucking bitch, stupid fucking whore. She deserved it. Oh, I wonder if she fucking got bloated, more bloated or whatever." And I felt really bad. I was like, you're talking about somebody who died who was probably the loneliest person in the world.
Yeah,
because I have a feeling that nobody loved her. I have a feeling that everybody wanted to use her and that nobody loved her.
Well, there's breaking news now on Fox News Channel. Fox News has just confirmed that Anna Nicole Smith has died. It was 2 o'clock this afternoon when authorities say they found her in her hotel room at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, very near the Dade and Broward County lines. She was rushed almost immediately to a medical center in Hollywood, Florida, at which point there were great concerns about her condition. She was born Vickie Lynn Hogan in Houston, Texas on November the 27th of 1968. She was married and more recently has had a child. She had a little girl just a few months ago at a hospital in the Bahamas. Her older son came to visit her, and while he was there, he died, and varying accounts of how that happened, and there are lawsuits that have been filed and an investigation underway. But today, Anna Nicole Smith, she was photographed as recently as yesterday at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Today, found unresponsive in her hotel room, and now Fox News has confirmed through her lawyer, Anna Nicole Smith is dead.
Her son had died, like right before she died, and I think a lot of what led to her final misery before she died was that, because no parent wants to outlive their children. No parent ever wants to see their children. I can't imagine outliving
my children. I would. I don't know what I would do. See my innocent little baby boy die. I would be broken forever.
What do we got?
This is One Rocket Charlie.
It's already happening. And she is flying right into the heart of it. The enemy is here.
They're gonna kill us for what's in this briefcase. There's a satellite tracking system. Could destroy an entire city. It's headed for a third world country. Now go!
We are the People's Democratic Liberation Party. You're standing between me and $1.5 billion. Every 5 minutes, I will kill a hostage until you return the case to me.
Skyscraper.
So let's move on to Skyscraper, which is it's a really, I like again, Anna. unfortunately, she just ruins the movie for me because she's got, okay, should you really be piloting a helicopter when you have 3-inch fingernails? I mean, they even have a close-up of it because they know it's a joke. Let's have her as a helicopter pilot this time. Okay, we'll get a close-up of her beautiful 3-inch fingernails.
Let's get a close-up of her 3-inch fingernails and her 9-inch.
And she's rocking the stick.
9-inch areolas.
Okay. Oh, I did want to have this. I have this question for you. Completely sexist piece of shit question for two guys in a podcast.
Sexist, yes.
Are they real? They look real to me.
Areolas? They look real.
No, the breast, the whole breast. Are they real?
I don't care.
I think they're real because they have the right kind of sag, and I've known women who've had breasts that big.
She wouldn't have had to worry about no titties for the rest of her life, boy. You know, she was set and she was looking good, son.
That's the truth, baby.
That's why it's not shocking to me, you know.
I don't know.
They look real. But they have a certain heft and bounce to them, especially in some of her love scenes it seems like they're too well taken care of for as big as they are, and they also tend to they kind of point toward the sun or Mecca or whatever. I want to think that they're real, and if they are real, fantastic. And she was born with these assets, and obviously she was picked up for having these assets and get into the industry of stripping and modeling and things like that.
Right.
And she becomes a very popular model based on her appearance. Something in me tells me that they're fixed up just because of her career, but also they just kind of look real when she's in certain positions. And of course, we get a few of those positions in this movie. Okay, Skyscraper.
Mm-hmm.
So even the title font rips off Die Hard. Did you notice that? It says Skyscraper, and it's got the same Die Hard font. Not the rest of the credits, just the title. Right. And Vickie Lynn here gets an associate producer credit, which is really nice. It's like, I want more money. Well, we don't have enough money because we already gave you every penny we have. So how about we give you an associate producer credit? And then maybe you can take a cut of the box office, even though we're not going to be released theatrically.
Right.
So she's like, okay. She's a pilot for a helicopter limousine type thing. I mean, it's like a limousine except it's a helicopter, which is really awesome. Have you ever ridden in a helicopter?
I have not.
I have not either. I know people who have. I believe my mother rode in a helicopter once. Looks like a lot of fun, also looks crazy dangerous. So we have nefarious dealings. We have guys with sunglasses and handcuffed briefcases. Well-dressed men in bad neighborhoods, always a bad decision. We've got rocket launchers. We got rocket launchers in this movie and real explosions
We've got
being
cars
conducted.
Driving through fucking Bud Light trucks and stuff.
Bud Dry Draft.
Right.
Tightly paced action. It's actually, the action is very well choreographed. They did a fine job with that.
That really was well done. It's well choreographed except for the editing in some parts.
Some shots.
Well, I mean, they keep, lingering on the muscular guys fucking firing weapons, and it doesn't...
They all have long hair,
too.
to
the fucking action.
Did you notice they all have long hair? I mean, like all these...
Did.
And except for now I got to say, I love the black guy. The black guy who plays the bad guy in this, he's like...
great.
He's doing this Shakespearean thing.
And I didn't look it up, but I know his voice from somewhere.
He keeps doing all the Shakespearean stuff. He is such a great scenery tour. I love him.
I wouldn't come any closer. Oh, my noble adversary. 'Tis that vain circumstance.
You know I can't let you have this.
Pushes us to the very brink. Ciao, bello.
He's terrific. He really is. He's very talented.
And I think it was like, okay, we need Alan Rickman. Get him on the phone. What do you mean he won't pick up the phone for us? Okay, let's get this guy.
Yeah.
There's okay, they're going to take over. They're going to shut down security for this skyscraper. Anna Nicole just sort of...
building, yeah.
Yeah. She just sort of stumbles into this and has no idea what the fuck's going on, which is hilarious to me.
Well, it is hilarious because, I mean, how would you ever imagine Anna Nicole Smith not knowing what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that's why it works. That's why the whole thing, because it's more believable. Like I said, I buy the helicopter pilot more than the CIA agent. And once again, we have the nudity and sex in here, and also we can't have a sex scene in the skyscraper, so she has to flash back to a sex scene.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, no, she had to flash back to that sex scene so that we could show her, because that way it makes it so we understand how she knows how to shoot a gun because we could see how retarded she is. But apparently, like, her boyfriend taught her how to shoot a gun.
Or her boyfriend's a cop. Oh, I got to say. Her husband, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a really good-looking guy in this movie, and I was thinking, my
Yeah,
God,
I'd
he's...
fuck him.
Yeah, that's. I was saying to Bronwyn, I said, this guy's really good looking. Take a look. She's like, huh? What? Good looking guy?
Ooh.
So I pop up his picture and everything. She's like, he's
fuck
okay.
him because I'd fuck him.
I'm comfortable saying it. I'm comfortable saying that. He was on an NBC soap opera called Passions back in the late 80s, early 90s, and then he gets this gig.
Okay.
And he gets to fondle Anna Nicole's breast, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, you fucking asshole.
Okay, he's gay.
It's my job. He didn't really strike me as like, I mean, if he's gay, bravo. But I'm going to say that Anna Nicole's dialogue is basically kind of reduced to, when are we going to have a baby? I want to have a baby.
I want to have a baby, and you
I told you.
have one with me.
I'm married to my work, not you.
Well, that's what you say, and that's why I'm mad at you, but I'm still going to take you to work when you need to go there.
You got her sounding like Cletus or something. Like, oh, what y'all doing? Hot damn, no more sitting in the dirt at the drive-in. So they take over. She's in there. She's running around. There's this head of security there named Officer Wright, Dudley Wright. And he kind of reminds me of, he's like the unholy bastard child of Tim Kazurinsky and Stephen Colbert. That's what he reminds me of. And he actually kills a guy and he says, I did it. Which is, but oh God, I actually really like this movie quite a bit. There's a bit here that rips off Die Hard, obviously, where she jumps over the edge of the top of the skyscraper and down, hanging by this wire on this spinner. And then the spinner breaks or something, and she smashes through a window and manages to get into an office through the window as the thing is falling, of course. So it's a ripoff of but it was such a great scene.
It was fucking horrible. I'm sorry.
I really liked it. I liked her hanging by that thing, and I was like, Jesus.
There are a number of things to like about this, but that was not one of them as far as I'm concerned.
I liked it because she's better looking than Bruce Willis. And also, you kind of believe that Bruce Willis has got to be maybe 30 or 40 pounds lighter than her. And then I could tell that she noticeably gained weight between this movie and To the Limit. So I'm like, my God, she's in real jeopardy here.
Gaining
because
weight from scene to scene in this movie.
Maybe I'm a little big boned.
That guy didn't even have to try to shoot the wire to make her fall. Her own weight would eventually break that wire.
All the Twinkies that Reginald Vell Johnson was buying in fucking Die Hard, she was eating them.
Maybe I'm a little big boned.
I believe Anna Nicole to be like a woman, more of a woman than most of these actresses working today.
Well, she is slightly more.
And that, unfortunately, because of her assets, if you will.
Well, yes, her assets.
She wouldn't be able to.
large.
I don't think that the fourth wave of feminism, which is what I'm calling it, the fourth wave of feminism would have any place for an Anna Nicole Smith in today's society, because this is something that is completely manufactured for sexuality, right? And females don't want that anymore. They don't. Or they pretend that they don't want
Nicole
that.
Smith, and I apologize. I'm just giving you shit because, I don't know why we're doing Anna Nicole Smith movies.
You stupid fucking cunt.
Because these are true exploitation movies. And why the fuck did we do Deadly Prey?
I don't know.
Why the fuck did we do?
But that seemed more interesting than Anna Nicole Smith. But you wanted to do Anna Nicole Smith, and I apologize. I don't mean to make a thing out of it. I was just
She represents something larger than life about women.
I think that the fourth wave feminists today would ignore her because they would just dismiss her as stupid, and I honestly don't think that she was stupid. I think she was drugged out, and that made her seem stupid. Because you don't get to where she got if you're completely stupid.
Yeah, that's true. You have to be clever. You have to be ambitious. You have to be smart about things.
Once she got there, she still managed to hold on to it, but she was obviously under the influence of something, and we don't know what. I don't know what, because I've never really looked into it.
Yeah, but now my question changes to: do you think movies like these would be made today? I don't really think they'd be made today.
I would like it if they were. Now, New Image is still doing
Are they really doing stuff like this where they're doing like your straight action movie and then throwing in
they're doing better
sex
stuff.
scenes with women with big tits
stuff.
or something? I mean, I don't see big tits. I don't see big asses. I don't see big anything anymore nowadays. All these actresses look like they've never seen a meal in their life. They look incredibly small, and they're doing impossible things.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's like
they're beating up on like guys who are like 100 pounds.
Can you buy Charlize Theron in Atomic Blonde taking on 5 guys in her kitchen?
No, and it was a horrible movie. It's just a terrible movie. I watched it the other day. It's just not a good movie.
I mean, it just doesn't seem believable. Now, Charlize Theron, we know, is tall, but she doesn't really have the body mass necessary to be able to. I would buy Anna Nicole, alert. 15 cups of coffee, no drugs, sober as hell, beating the crap out of people.
Well, I would buy Anna Nicole if she fucking lifted weights for 6 months or a year, like ate fucking 300 grams of protein every day. I would buy her kicking the shit out of a bunch of guys. Yeah, Charlize Theron. No,
I can't get behind that idea. I can't get behind the idea of the actress Ruth Negga in Preacher, who is 5'2". And looks like she weighs all of 80 pounds, beating the shit out of a 300-pound guy who's 6'4". Yeah. And she manages to kill him. With her bare hands. And she doesn't have one fucking. She doesn't have one fucking scar on her body. I don't buy that.
It's like it teaches the kids today that it's funny. I mean, you're raising a girl, but if you're raising a boy similar age, it's like they're like boys today are raised that the girls are the tough ones who fight.
Yeah.
And they don't understand anything else. That's what they see in popular culture. It's all they see.
If that were indeed true, then we wouldn't hear so many people saying "Me too, me too, me too," and all this nonsense.
Yeah,
we would have women fighting back. We would have women.
You see the retort to that? It's like, do you remember when we were in the '80s and the hashtag was the pound sign? So basically, when you're saying "pound me too," maybe you should rethink that and not say that, because that might be insensitive.
Oh, that's excellent. That is excellent, and that is a keeper that is staying in the episode. That is fucking excellent. Pound me too. Pound me too. The problem now with this new fourth wave feminism is that women are not going to seek representation in a character like Anna Nicole Smith, because she was always who is the closest approximation we can come to that? Kim Kardashian?
Maybe.
Yeah, and it's like a joke to them too. They don't like that either. So whatever it just comes down to you can't.
Like a star in any kind of film today, I can't think of anybody like Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah, and you know what? I miss it, and I know you've been having fun tonight making a lot of jokes about her.
Maybe I'm a little big boned.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's joke worthy, but every celebrity is joke worthy.
And while I'm making jokes about it, I have to say it's not a good thing. There should be representation all over the board, and
I always felt that these movies aren't going to be made. You're not going to see movies like these. This is pure exploitation, and it's obviously meant for the dirty little boys and the dirty little girls, whatever you're into, and it's meant to be fun. It's every movie takes itself so fucking seriously now. Everything. They take crap and they put a huge budget on it, and they put green screen effects, and you feel so disconnected from any action that's actually occurring.
Yeah.
And to me, they're not as good as movies like these, or movies like Deadly Prey, or things like that, where you actually turned on a camera and told people
Deadly
to go.
Prey has a lot more charm, and for whatever reason, even though they had no idea when they were making it, for whatever reason, like Deadly Prey has something about it that this movie doesn't have. This movie is like your kind of run-of-the-mill, straight to video kind of thing. It has something better than your total bottom of the barrel crap, but it's not. It doesn't have the charm of a Deadly Prey. You know what I'm saying?
To me, it does.
It doesn't have that thing. It doesn't have that thing that spark, like that makes it. Like,
I was
special.
actually when I watching sometimes Deadly Prey and Deadliest Prey, I got bored. I didn't really get bored watching this. I was on the edge of my seat watching it for the most part.
I actually was on the edge of my seat watching Skyscraper. I really was. I enjoyed that movie. The other one, not so much.
Not so much, no. Yeah. And it's unfortunate, too, because Skyscraper didn't get the theatrical release that To the Limit got. Skyscraper should have gotten one. I think To the Limit should have been, let's call it a practice movie.
Skyscraper was a good movie. It was fun to watch all the way through. There are many movies that are much bigger, much more, where a lot more work went into them, and a lot bigger budgets have gone into them that I have shut off after 15 minutes. And I watched Skyscraper all the way through, and I was interested all the way through. I do have to say that.
So what do you think accounts for that? What do you think accounts for? Is it the love of just doing this? Did it look? I mean, I kind of got this indication that the filmmakers were just having so much fun making the movie too. I mean, when they had to unload Anna Nicole out of her car, get her into costume, and get everything ready, hit the lights. You got everybody ready. You got a crew. You got everything working.
I felt like they were having a lot of fun, and I also felt like she was kind of like her mannerisms in the movie reminded me of Jan Michael Vincent towards the end of his career, where they're propping him up, he's just completely incompetent, and they're just like
Haunting
this movie
Fear
around her.
Yeah.
Where they're doing Hit List, which was a terrific movie, Bill Lustig movie with Jan Michael Vincent,
which we got to get to. We got to get to Lustig at some point this
season. Lustig is great, man. We got to do Bill Lustig.
We got to do Hit List. We got to do Maniac Cop shit.
Yeah, Maniac Cop. And we should do his original Maniac and stuff like that.
Okay, let's wrap up Skyscraper here. So I believe that they took Die Hard. And they took all the best parts out and put them into a movie, because there's a lot of stuff in here that is...
I believe that they took Die Hard and they folded it up many times and they turned it into a vagina.
Okay.
And then they folded it on itself, and then they took this cock and then they stuck it in the vagina.
This is rage.
I don't know.
And you want me to keep that in?
No, you can get rid of that. I don't know what I'm talking about.
So what are your final thoughts on Skyscraper?
I enjoyed Skyscraper. I thought it was a lot of fun. Do I think it's a really good movie that I want to watch on a regular basis? No. But it was certainly a lot better than I expected it to be, and was definitely worth watching. If somebody wants to give it a shot, I say go for it, because you're not going to be disappointed.
You're not going to be disappointed, but isn't it a nice surprise when you're expecting a movie to be shit and it actually turns out to be fairly good?
Yes. Now, you told me that this movie was not going to be shit, and I didn't believe you.
Fuck you, David.
No, of course you didn't.
I have to say that I enjoyed it. It was much better than I thought it was going to be, and I enjoyed it. It made it through. A lot of times I watch movies while I'm doing cardio on my exercise bike, and it takes a certain exciting level of movie for me to want to watch it. Otherwise, I want to shut it off.
Right.
And I have to say, I made it through this movie very happily, and I was actually wanting to see it. There are actually points where, because I pedal for a half hour on my bike, and I'm about to finish, but I keep going because I want to see what happens next in the movie. That actually did happen in this movie, which is a rare thing. And that's a good thing for the movie, that I actually did that, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. That was good. It's definitely not something I would recommend as oh my god, you have to see this movie, but it was fun.
Get in the chopper now!
Not till you let the boy go.
Let her go!
Gordy, wait!
We can all live through this. I have a very nervous trigger finger and very little patience.
Look, I'll make a deal with you. You let the boy go over to Gordy, and I'll take you anywhere you want to go.
I don't even like children. I'd rather play with you.
Go to Gordy.
Come here. There was never a story of more woe than this of Juliet and Romeo!
Gordy!
Ah!
No!
when you go into a movie not expecting much, just as you did, and you wound up being pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah.
You're gonna rate a movie based on your suspension for disliking the material. So if you're not going to like it, I guess based on its budget or based on the cast, although I did not go and see the Blade Runner movie because I'm not interested in seeing it because it's got Ryan Gosling and Jared Leto in it, who I absolutely hate. I can't stand them as actors. I think they're terrible.
I don't like Ryan Gosling, but I thought that he was perfect for that in that role. I thought that worked.
The man has no charm. He has no.
I'm not a fan of his.
I can't get behind him. I think he's terrible.
I was willing to watch him in that role because it seemed right for him. It just seemed that role for whatever reason seemed right. Now Jared Leto, I love him as a singer, but I'm not the biggest fan of him as a. I love 30 Seconds to Mars. 30 Seconds to Mars is awesome.
Anyway, so when you go into a movie with no expectations, it's a museum piece because this is a time that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
A world without Anna Nicole Smith in it is a significantly more boring world. That we don't have movies being made like this anymore is a very boring world. So movies tend to be really terrible these days, and it was like looking at something that never existed before. It was like a movie where you have explosions that are real, you have real suspense, real danger. It feels like it's really fucking dangerous, actually. Looking at a lot of the stuff, and there's a certain passion to it that I really responded to, and I had a lot of fun watching both of these movies. Skyscraper being the obvious better one,
yeah.
But I think
you're right.
This
I have
is
to tell you, you're right. You're right. There's a big. These movies don't get made anymore, and there's like a hole in the world without them.
There is such, and I think that when you have limited money, you're going to be more creative about spending it. But when you're given a blank check, there's really no problems, and there's nothing happening, and there's no real danger. That's why I feel like a lot of it doesn't really work for me anymore watching it, especially since it's all being done with computers now. And you can tell looking at an explosion whether or not it's real.
Yeah.
Because fire has its own life to it. It's not something that you can simulate inside a computer, no matter what kind of processor power you have.
Right.
So every movie looks like a perfect painting now, and it doesn't have all of the problems, the individual problems that can occur, and individual character to it, smoke and mirrors and in-camera effects, and Anna Nicole, who is the world's greatest visual effect as far as I'm concerned. So these movies aren't being made, and it's a much sadder world that we don't have them, and it's. Even if they're bad or something, I feel like a bad movie from 1995 is better than most good movies today.
That's true about
barring
a lot of things. A bad refrigerator from 1995 is better than a brand new refrigerator now.
A piece of shit Pinto that will explode if you kick the bumper is a better
car
than
a
most
new car
cars.
now, pretty much.
Yes. I mean, it's just, I always believe that because we tend to view through the eyes of nostalgia, everything's better when you're young. I don't want to believe that when it comes to this.
I would love it if I could buy, like for instance, my heating and cooling units in my house. Like I have one of them downstairs that's like 23 years old. I don't want to replace it. I want to keep fixing it, even though the people that fix it don't want to keep fixing it, because I know that the new one will be complete crap that I have to replace. I'll spend $10,000 to replace the whole fucking thing, and I'll have to spend $10,000 again in 5 years. Whereas if I could keep this one running, I'll just keep it running, and I'll spend $1,000 every couple of years, and it'll be fine. If I replace it with a new one, I will have to replace the new one within 3 years because everything now is crap.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Okay, this has been Extreme Cinema. We were talking about the lovely, beautiful Anna Nicole Smith, who's no longer with us.
She's fat.
Maybe I'm a little big boned.
Again, with this asshole over here. I want to thank you, Andrew, for joining me. And next time, I guess we'll be talking about The Disaster Artist, and I'll be reading that book.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa.
Awesome. You will love that book. It's great.
And then we'll talk about the strange case of Tommy Wiseau. Thanks again. Good night.
Thank you.
Anyway, how is your sex life?
You have been listening to Extreme Cinema with Andrew Ganke and David Lawler.